I'm back on the floor again. Um, just like ruminating while Final Fantasy XV is installing on my Xbox. And I was thinking, like, despite my situation and that friendship crumbling, it's probably for the best because, as I've always stated, like, I have a tendency to mask. I don't recognize myself because I would have never imagined that I would record myself sitting here talking confidently, I guess, if you could say that, and then like editing it and uploading it online. If everything were to continue going as normal, I don't think I would have been myself. I say I wouldn't have been myself because I know myself. And I was tailoring my entire persona or personality, character, anything, whatever I was being, I was tailoring it specifically for that person because I wanted to be validated by that person. That person's approval was the only person I ever cared about, and I had it for a long time. I mean, they admired me, but then over time, it's like, it's not about the facade crumbling that didn't happen. It's not like they ever noticed. Surprisingly, I don't know how. Like they never paid enough attention to me to the point where they really understood it or even noticed it. She didn't notice it, which was so yeah. It's best it didn't work out because then I wouldn't be here now. You got to think about it in like paths and timelines. Like all I wanted was that person's approval. I wanted to be so cool to them because before I wasn't like cool enough. They literally told me this like outright that I just like I wasn't qualified to stand by them to be their friend at the time because I just wasn't cool enough. So then I went through these like trials and tribulations to try to like improve myself for this person to be worthy of their validation. And then when I had it, I didn't really feel any different. I felt less of myself because I was changing myself for somebody else, and I should have never did that. And then now that that's all gone to ruin, I feel like more me than I ever have ever before. But I feel a little delayed. Like it took way too long because I spent probably like 4 years doing that for this person. So now I have to like catch up and adapt even more to myself, though, adapt to myself. And it's so weird. The things we do for approval and validation from others, it's silly, isn't it? Like, why did I ever desire that? I don't know why I ever craved for her validation. It really didn't matter. She's just another human. It was so silly. But yeah, it's just a blessing in disguise because then I wouldn't be me. I just put up so many fronts. I mean, I honestly wanted her to notice eventually, but she never did. And this went on for years, and it's so sad. She never really once truly paid attention to me as long as I was like useful, valuable, and helped increase like her perception. Because, I mean, I don't think you guys know unless maybe you've seen my TikTok or something. I like fashion a bit, and it really I'm a third year in uni right now. It started during my first year at uni because I mean, again, I always struggle with like forming connections. So I was like, maybe if I like dress a little different, like a bit more approachable or more overtly, maybe people would talk to me because my whole like thought process was if I'm scared to approach people, maybe I should like try to make people approach me. Kind of silly, but that's how I thought it would work. And in hindsight, it didn't work. Like maybe a couple people approached me, but again, it was just like random compliments, which always like improved my day, made me feel better. Random compliments, maybe like exchange social medias, but it never like got further than that. So that was my thought process, and she began to pay more attention to me as I began to, like level up, I guess, right? And I should have noticed it there. Back then, she didn't want me, even though I'm still like nothing, you know. But I'm something. I was just stupid the whole time. The years I spent chasing her, it was a waste. It really was a waste. And I'm glad it didn't work out because man, I put up way too many fronts. I just want to be cool in her eyes, And in my attempt, my pursuit of being cool, I literally lost myself. Like, and fashion was something that I also used to distract myself because before I used to use like anime and video game manga like communities and whatnot. I was never really like active in them or anything. I wouldn't say I like joined the fandoms, but I would just watch a whole bunch of like videos, follow creators, and just read on like threads and whatnot of just a plethora of stuff. And then it kind of stopped. And that was my passion. Like that's all I did like during my upbringing. Honestly, ever since elementary school. Like I remember watching Swag Kage, and all these other content creators. Oh, Sage's Reign, like all these video essay analysis of anime characters, and then like yeah, around my freshman year of college, it just stopped out of nowhere, and I began noticing it. I'm like, I'm not feeling like myself. Like I usually had this routine of doing this, but I'm not doing it anymore because I love watching those videos and even like writing my own my own interpretation of it, and that's when I noticed it. I diagnosed the situation, but I didn't change. So I kept like diluting myself even more by not spending time on doing what I loved and putting allocating that time towards my craft of like fashion, I guess, so I could be more socially acceptable. Because honestly, like people always judge whether you like it or not, and inherently it's not a bad thing. Like we always judge people whether it's based on their features or characteristics, the way they dress. We judge people, and I just wanted to have like a neutral judgment, a neutral rating. I just wanted connection. That's all I ever yearned for, and I never got that. So now I feel like I spent so much time wasted on trying to be somebody that I wasn't even. Yeah, I was trying to be somebody that I wasn't, and it worked. But it worked for the wrong reasons. And I'm glad that it's over. Because now I can go back to being me, and I feel like that situation helped me understand who I am maybe a little bit better. I just want to do what I love, and I don't want to be judged. Because I already feel like double marginalized, treated as peripheral, not only because of my race, which I don't want to make this about race, but I do feel like minorities do tend to be treated more peripheral than, the majority, of course, but as well as just not, like, never fitting in at school amongst my peers, like, it fit in, so. And I still carry that sentiment to this day because even though I age, I get older, and I get smarter and whatnot, I still feel like I carry my inner child within me. The same kid, like from middle school to high school, who was like never acknowledged and everything. Like in elementary school, I used to feel like I was invisible. Genuinely, I I can't remember it too well, but I did something in class one time. I think I like made a noise to see if like I existed. I don't know what it would be called, but I had some sort of complex. Like literally in elementary school, I remember we all sat on a rug or whatever. It was like reading time or something like that. I don't know. And it was a very interactive thing, an interactive segment with the teacher. And she would like call on people, and I would always raise my hand because I was like so eager in class. I would raise my hand, and she never called on me, but she would call on the other people. And then I just made a loud noise. I was like, "Am I invisible?" I genuinely thought I was invisible, and it still went unacknowledged, and I was so confused, and that stayed with me for a long time. I guess just don't mask, be who you are, and who cares if they don't accept you? And that's what I've grown to learn from this experience too. It's like, bro, if I known this person for 10 plus years, and I was craving their validation for what, like 4, maybe 5 years, and I got it, and then it slipped through my hands just like that in only a month's time. I I did it for the wrong reasons. It I was doing a disservice to me. It was within God's timing. He was trying to show me. It was a divine sign. And at this point, I don't care who accepts me, unfortunately. As I said, with feeling like I'm marginalized twice fold, double marginalized. Um, Especially as like I guess seeming alternative or whatever. I know I'm not right now because bro, I'm in uniform, but I go to work. But also, it's like I just don't care for others' approval or validation anymore. It's like you become so numb to it. It's unfortunate to say, but I don't care about the approval or the validation anymore. Now I'm just gonna unapologetically be myself. Hopefully, I can do it as much as I want. I know I feel like I may limit myself still, cause it this like this feeling is in like spurts. You know, it's like one moment I'll feel like I'm invincible, and the next I feel like absolute shit. But I will be myself through and through because I have nothing left to lose. That person was like the last thing I was clinging on to from like my past life. And they were all I needed and all I ever wanted. Well, all I needed? I don't know. All I wanted. Oh, all I needed, Ponchico. But yeah, so now I can do whatever I want, be whoever I want, and all I want to be is me. So I guess this isolationism was just divine timing, and I know it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be real quiet, real loud, but I'm sure this is just for the best. I'm still open to forming connections. It's just like I never knew how, so I always appreciated the ones that were easier to come by when they would approach me, which is like all of my um most of my stronger relationships. Cause I think I'm a nice person. I literally just thought of this as I'm about to be on my way to work, but so I believe now that I have nothing and I can truly become or be whatever I want in this world and do whatever I want. I'll be okay because even though I'm empty, I can fill myself up with so much more now. What else do I have left to lose? Because I didn't want to embarrass my friends or family, like anybody, because I know how social media is. It can get weird, warped, and distorted. But I was always afraid. I was like, what if I'm not accepted because I already have this fear of rejection and I've already experienced it so much in real life? What if it didn't work out on the internet? And the internet is a cruel, harsh, cold, and lonely place. So many people, you don't know who's watching you. A lot of people leave me in comments. So I was still always afraid. But now that I have nothing, what does it matter anymore? That got very depressing. But it's supposed to be uplifting. But it got depressing. Slight update after getting off my 1 a.m. shift. Um, so I was thinking about what I said before about how because I'm now empty, I can be anything, but I don't know who to be anymore or who I even am because I've lived so many lives masking that has caused me to lose sight of every core asset that makes up me. So currently just trying to navigate finding myself, rediscovering myself. I feel like that's just the main objective. I'm sure I'm sure I'll find myself through this because if I wasn't working then I'd just be depressed in my room all day. So I feel like something within me forced me to get a job. Like I still can't even fathom that I have a job. Like how I don't know how this happened. I just felt myself going into a slump. So I forced myself to get one. And here I am. I just kept thinking like during the entire shift, bro, it's 1 a.m. now. Like this is my life. I mean, it's not a bad life and it's temporary anyways because I'm a uni student. But like what am I doing this for and what am I living for? Am I living because I'm afraid of dying? Because honestly, sometimes I start to fathom. I'm like, because the area I work in isn't the safest. So I was like, what if a guy just comes in and does something. And it's like, is there really anything that's stopping it? And I feel like I'm so desensitized to it because of the media, all the cruelties that take place that are highlighted on through the media. And it's like, is that as close as I could get to a graceful death in this era? Is there even such thing as dying young anymore? I mean, dying old. Is there any such thing as dying old in this era amongst Gen Z? I feel like I'm so afraid of dying. I feel like a lot of my primordial fears outweigh my fear of death, even though death is a primal fear. It's just so much happens within this economy in this world. It's like, what am I even afraid of dying for at this point? As much as I shouldn't say it. Am I gonna do it myself? No. I feel like a core reason why this whole masking charade has come crumbling is because I've been doing it for so long, to the point I kind of forgot like which persona was supposed to be allocated for what person, because I've done it with so many people, including family, to where I've diminished myself so much that I can feel my internal just crying because I was rejected so hard, even by those closest to me, that I had to succumb to this, because I like to be fluid. I like to be like water. I just want to navigate myself around people to not cause a disturbance, because I do not want to be burdensome. So I try to be like the burdenless person. It's just like I just exist. Like, I don't want to cause problems for anybody, because that's how you become an inconvenience. And I've already been rejected without being an inconvenience by just being myself. And I guess people don't like me being myself. So it's like, when I become this like mere object, who's a mere convenient object for others, I'm literally objectifying myself. And honestly, I've played the jester before. I haven't done that recently, but I used to do it. And I would just diminish my worth even more and more. It would never get to like a humiliating point, but I could just feel myself withering away each act at a time. I made it back home from the 1 a.m. shift, my first ever 1 a.m. shift. It wasn't that bad. Um, you could probably guess. Ooh, you could probably guess where I work by the color of my attire. Just, I'm not getting into it too much, but the entire shift is like, it's the same when I'm at home. When I wake up, my thoughts get increasingly louder. I thought if I worked, that I was gonna say the voices, but no, I thought my thoughts would like get quieter a bit. Um, but I guess that's because my place of work isn't too busy, so I still get time to like think a bunch. I might, I was gonna say invest in a journal and journal at work, but that's probably a bad look. I don't think they would allow me to do that. So I don't know. Just gonna keep documenting, I guess. But one thing I did keep reflecting about was the whole masking thing, and how I keep creating, or kept creating, new alter egos, personas, characters, whatever, because I never felt enough. And then I was thinking like, I haven't done it in so long, because I kind of distance myself from a lot of people, because like not everybody is your friend, some people are just like acquaintances, associates, things of that nature, right? So I haven't had to rely on them too much. So with me not having to rely on those characters, they kind of just like disappeared, like faded into obscurity. I don't know where they went. So it's kind of like those characters, those pieces of myself that I spent so much time crafting, just ended up dying. It's like a piece of me died. But it's not really a piece of me, because it was a facade. It was a false character. if that makes sense. So I'm kind of confused because I feel like a piece of me died when in actuality it's good that that happened because now that I don't have these people to put on this like performance, this act for, now I will become me holistically, or at least I should, right? Theoretically. But it's just hard making so much sense of this. I literally feel like this is my fifth recorded death this year. It's the end of the year. It's December for time of reference. December 18th, 19th, 18th, 18th. December 18th. I feel like I literally lived 5 different lives this year. And I felt this way for plenty of years. Not specifically 5. I mean, I lost count, but I can remember 5 instances where I felt like I would meet it. Cause it always happens when I meet new people. Like somebody reaches out to me, like a classmate will reach out to me, want to be my friend. Then I'm like, oh, how much of myself can I be? Cause of course, like I want to be compatible socially. Um, so it's like, how much of myself can I be? Okay, let me build this character so they'll like them, like or like me. Um, Platonically, of course, but just so I can fit in. And I realized like I've been doing this for years, many years, ever since grade school, to the point where it never worked. So what does it matter at this point? I might as well just be myself unapologetically because I spent so much time attempting to perfect this craft just for it to never work anyways. I'd always get substituted eventually. Only like 1 or 2 people have ever caught on to like me doing that, I guess. But still, it's like I'd get substituted, replaced anyways, because people are replaceable whether we want to accept it or not. And I don't necessarily distance myself from people unless I have to, maybe. But I just feel like whenever you're that floater friend, like constantly getting replaced or people showing their true intentions, it just makes it very hard to trust. And it's hard. It's hard to get over having such an immense amount of trust issues. And then it's even worse when you have no one to talk to about it. Um, yeah, I just woke up. About to go clock in and another 1 a.m. shift, so I will see you guys tonight. I also wanted to add that it is very difficult to trust people when you confide in people, especially people you've been known. Like you think you can trust somebody, you know this person, you think you know them like the back of your hand. They would never do anything like they always have your best interest at heart. And then when they weaponize the information that you tell them, when you explicitly state your boundaries, how can you ever trust again? I keep referencing back to this, but 10 plus year friendship. Like how can I move on past that? If somebody that I've known, I know friendships aren't contingent on like how long you've necessarily known somebody for, because I've made some great friends and I've only known them for like a year. Yeah, like a year. But I don't want to like rank my friends or anything with no like hierarchical system. I think that's kind of weird. But how can I trust somebody? Because now I feel like it just literally eats me alive, like having these troubles, these things that bother me. And then, of course, it's better to get it out. That's why I'm doing it now, honestly. That's how I got to this point. But before, it's like maybe I had 2 people I could talk to. One of them never listened, so it didn't matter. But as long as I was getting it out, I guess that's all that matters. And then the other one, they kind of listened, but I grew to understand that not a lot of people are not only not good listeners, but not active listeners. And I mean, it's not their fault. It's I try to be a good listener. I like listening to people and making them feel seen because it's like I know what it's like. I know what it's like, so I wouldn't want somebody else to feel that way, to not be heard, because I felt like I haven't been heard for a very long time. And it's more than just being heard, it's about being understood and being perceived and well received and just getting good feedback. And then if you don't know how to give, if you don't know how to give good feedback, that's okay. If like just, I feel like it's all about communication. I feel like communication is the lost art, and I hope that you guys can be very welcoming of someone like me, and maybe advice or something. But yeah, trust issues, people weaponizing the information you tell them, always be careful. And I guess just try to stay away from, it's like I try to stay away from clicky people now. A lot of friend groups are very incestuous, very clicky, and people have like a lot of ego trips, power trips. It's just so hard to navigate around people because I like to be like water. I like to like, I don't want to be a burden for anybody. I don't want to be an inconvenience. So I try to be as flexible as possible, right? To the point where I would diminish my value, my worth, and just like objectify myself to being like a convenient friend, I guess, if that makes sense. And this was just a hard pill to swallow, like a hard lesson. I just had to learn it. Can't do that because inaction is still inaction, and when you try to be neutral and play both sides, everybody loses. Now that I'm empty, I can be filled up with whatever. What determines my value? Is my value only in what I can offer? Is it in my capabilities? Is it in how smart I am? My intelligence? My appearance? Well, not my appearance, but I think we're in a shortage of empathy, and I think we're entering a dystopian meritocracy. I don't think this world even seems real anymore. I think people disregard the effects of the words that they have on others. I don't think people understand how powerful the tongue is anymore. And I'm beginning to wonder if karma is even real. Not like I wish it on anybody, but it was always like a deterrent in my mind. I know a lot of people use religion, and yeah, I guess I use religion a bit too, but it's also, there's multiple factors on it. It's like my upbringing, just like being raised to be a good person or whatever, or a normal person, just whatever, right? Because I feel like a lot of people like to pedestalize themselves by saying a good person, just being a normal person, bro. Like, respect others, treat people how you want to be treated, basic moral principles, a simple mantra, you know? And I think people don't, I don't think people are as aware of the effect that they can have on others and how others affect them. A lot of people are not aware of the company that they keep and how it influences them to act a certain way. And it's hard to see people change. I hate not having a community because I feel like I don't belong. And honestly, I kind of get envious of people who have community, especially when it's because of their race and their culture. Because even though I feel double marginalized at times, I feel like it can almost triple because one, I'm already a minority. Two, I feel like I don't belong because I'm already somewhat like alternative, even though I don't like to label myself as that. But I feel like I exhibit certain qualities of it. And three, I was just thinking like every in high school and college, having these clubs, especially when it comes to embracing your culture, and it's like, what culture do I really have besides me being a black American? Which I guess that's really up for debate. I'm kind of confused on that one too, because whenever there would be African student associations, like a lot of my friends are African, and they would join them. I just never felt like I belonged there because I'm of African descent, maybe, but am I really African? And then like the little jokes too, or yeah, like about being called Nakata, however you pronounce it, and being a mutt and whatever, and then just seeing everybody like embrace their culture, like it's amazing to see. It's like I don't have any. Well, I guess Black Americans do have a bit of culture, but then again, it's just so hard to like remember because it gets drawn out by like the little comments people make, or at least to me, people bringing up like slavery and stuff like that, and how they have like so much pride within their culture, and like direct categories and instances that they can bring up, like having traditional food, anything like that. And it's like, do I really have that? But that's fine. I feel like just already having those trust issues and then that sense of not belonging with unstable relationships as well, it's it's just catastrophic. As you can tell, it's about that time. About to clock in again. About to dissociate on shift again. Another shift of dissociating. I don't really know how I even make it through these shifts, honestly. I just, like, my mind just turns off. I go on autopilot. I kind of, like, I don't know. The world doesn't really seem real. But my job's not too bad, so. I just wish I was able to find like minded people. Because whenever I try to form connections with people, it's like, it starts off good, but then I just realize I'm not compatible with certain people. Maybe it's my fault. I don't know. It's like I want connection, but I don't at the same time. Sometimes I get lonely. Sometimes I like being away from society. Especially with the way I present myself. I feel like I try to make myself like as authentic as possible, but I feel like I often get punished for it. And I'm not saying authentic in the sense where I'm bold and just a straight up asshole. That's the wrong way to go about it. I'd say authentic, whereas even though I do mask at times, there's a lot of instances where I don't mask, especially with people that I trust, and that's what it is. That's why I hurt so much more, and then it leads me to mask, and why it's such like a perpetual cycle. Because I lower my guard. I think I can trust certain people. I I drop all the fronts and the facade, and I'm authentically myself, and then I get punished for it. People will make little jabs, jokes about like me being weird or whatever on the spectrum, which might be up for debate at this point, especially if I'm doing something like this, right? Probably am, but it's just certain comments. It's like, why do you feel like it's okay to say these things to people? It's not okay. And then I feel like I always have to objectify myself. Like I literally have to reduce myself to a convenient tool, like a prop for people to use for me to feel like I belong. Because then I'm convenient. I will be useful for something at least, whether it's like, oh, the person who they can lean a shoulder on, they can talk to, they can vent to, the person who doesn't judge, or the person who can. Pro- Sorry, guys. Or whether I'm the person who can provide a certain service. It's like I feel like we're entering a meritocracy. I mean, we've been in one for a while, right? But I feel like we're really entering like a hyper sense of a hyper sense of a meritocracy, um, where we have all these like indicators of our value, and if you don't have that, then you're nothing and you'll be disregarded. I mean, we probably do it all the time though. Like, look, when you see a homeless person on the side of the street, that might be a broad example, so that might not technically apply here, but I do think that the social value and the social credit is taking over the world at an alarming rate. And I don't really subscribe to that notion. I mean, I'd befriend anybody, even though I'm friendless. It's like, bro, if you, maybe I should start trying to reach out to people. But it's like if anybody reached out to me, they wanted to befriend, like I befriend people. Will that friendship like last long? Will it be like long term and like meaningful? I'm not to say, cause I prefer being like by myself, anyways. At first, I didn't, but I was conditioned to over time because like I did certain things to try to get people to reach out to me, like dress different, whatever, um, to get people's attention. But it didn't really work, and I was always scared of reaching out to people, so kind of just ended up here. And I feel like so horrible because I allowed others' perception to get to me. Once more, I just kept changing myself. And I feel like I literally distorted my entire perception of myself for for others. I didn't recognize myself for a bit. I don't know if I even recognize myself too much now, but I didn't recognize myself like a month. I mean, it's always happened, but last month I did not recognize myself because I gained some sort of social credit because of the niche I'm into, I guess. And I posted on Instagram. I like clothes, so I posted on Instagram. It was like a cool outfit. And I don't really post much. I'm like a low profile person, so no one really knows me. And I had this friend, and their friends, there were girls. They wanted to talk to me, and it's like, I mean, that's a given. That's a given. I can't blame anybody, but I shouldn't just have posted. But it's like it just really goes to show, like they knew me beforehand too. But it's like, oh, when you really, when you show people who you can be, when you show them your potential, that's when they start to romanticize you. But they won't romanticize your authentic self, which sucks. People will romanticize your potential, but they won't romanticize your authentic self. Whatever little quirks you have, they won't accept you. Or maybe they'll put up with it as long as you can continue providing or elevating their lives in certain aspects, whatever it is that they need, certain fulfillment needs, right? Is that inherently a bad thing? I don't know. But it just sucks. Why do I feel like I can never be myself? And I feel like the more I feel like this, feeling like I can't be myself, the more I lose myself. And I don't want to lose myself because I'm all I have. And without myself, I am nothing. I already feel like nothing. Um, I feel like I'm probably having existentialism crisis at this point. I don't know if I have the desire to exist. Not like I'm gonna do anything. Not gonna do anything. But I think being human is hard. And I also want to know, like, if for anybody watching, if you're older, I'm 20, about to be 21. For anybody that's dealing with like the whatever I'm experiencing, anything similar to this, do the thoughts ever stop as you get older? I've been trying to convince myself that maybe it's just my frontal lobe developing. So that's why like from the moment I wake up, like the thoughts just start like not voices or anything like that. Not like I'm crazy, but it's just constant introspection and pondering, ruminating, everything like that. Like, do the thoughts ever like quiet down or anything? And yeah, like how does it stop? I'm going with I'm just gonna go with that. It's part of my frontal lobe developing, and I try to think. Back to when I was like middle school, well, not middle school, but maybe high school. It's like in high school, was it like this? Was I constantly thinking, but I can't remember. I kind of don't remember who I was in high school because I've changed so much, and I always think about like the past version of me. Like if I looked at me now, even though I may have not changed too much on the outside, but on the inside, a bunch. Like I always wanted to connect. That's what it is too. Sorry, I know this is everywhere. This topic, but that's what it is with the social credit. Because in high school, like I may put a picture of me from high school, bro. I had a one friend group, which was enough for me. But some people knew me because of who I was attached to, like just other friends. Like just knew me as like, oh, I'm that person's friend. But no one was really my friend. So it's just especially the college I go to now because a lot of those people went to my high school, so they've seen like the transformation, I guess. And it's just like nobody wanted to be my friend. I wanted friends. Nobody wanted to be my friend. I tried putting myself out there. I tried to assimilate. I conformed so much, to like fit in, because I don't know, I just yearn for connection, companionship. I feel like that's a normal human thing. We're social creatures. It's just an innate desire, right? And it didn't work back then for whatever reason. But then now it's like, oh, now I'm suddenly worthy because of what I had to endure. I mean, our experiences do shape us, and I'm not taking that away from what I've experienced. I feel like it made me a better person, a much kinder person too. I love carrying my experiences with me. But then when those same people, or people who I guess resemble those qualities, characteristics, whatever, right? I'm not. I'm very reluctant to accept that friendship or that hand, because like, oh, I had to prove myself that I was worthy of standing by this person or being this person's friend. It's like, why do we have to judge so much, especially based on the way we look or present ourselves? You never know like how many people you're walking by that can do so much for you. But I feel like a lot of people are just ignorant, unfortunately. I'm beginning to hate the world we live in. No stray to God or anything, no diss. I think it's humans' fault, and I probably play a role in it inadvertently. I sound like a pessimist and a misanthrope. Okay, this is Guest Alt Isaiah signing out.